So while waiting for Supergirl to get to be on demand, I'll have to probably wait another hour for that. While waiting for Supergirl to show up, because I missed it, unfortunately, tonight. It's Star Wars week right now. Excuse me, I just had some food. We are counting down the days till The Force Awakens, when me and Mark will be in the car and be like, oh my god, it's just a Star Wars and it's a massive. We'll be just like, it was awesome and everything awesome. Before we do that, I'm putting out Star Wars videos. And I did a somewhat similar video to this one a little while back about what was good about the Star Wars prequels, but I didn't actually review the prequels themselves. I just went by the good qualities of the prequels. So I figured I'd take this time today, and then later in the week, probably either Wednesday or Thursday itself, I'll put out a video stating what for my reviews for the original trilogy, but we should go in order. It's my review of Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. So I'm not going to keep this video much more than 20 minutes, because I could go on a freaking riff about all of them. But regardless... let's just get started. And I owned all these movies too, so I've watched them recently enough to get a better understanding. Going with Episode 1 now, when Episode 1 came out, I didn't know much what to think. I'm just like, all I know is I love Star Wars, and this looked great, and, Darth Maul looks cool in the trailer with a double-bladed lightsaber, and all that's great goodness. And I remember watching it and thinking, this was awesome. I think this is my favorite one as a kid. And then watching it again and again, I was like, what Kool-Aid was I drinking? Now, that being said, it's actually, if you actually watch the Star Wars movie, the original Episode 1, it's not terrible, believe it or not. I mean, it's not good, but it's not as bad as people actually make it out to be in comparison to, say, the entire trilogy as a whole. There are good qualities, obviously, in the movie. The cast itself is actually a fairly good cast, Jake Lloyd notwithstanding. Even the guy they got to play Jar Jar Binks, there's nothing wrong with the guy. It's just that's what George Lucas told to do with Jar Jar Binks, and it suffered for that. Obviously, it can goes without saying that Jar Jar Binks was a colossal mistake of a character to do. It's theorized, and there's some people say there's credibility to this rumor that his character, and not that he was supposed to be a Sith Lord, but he was supposed to be this great, actual kind of awesome character, kind of like Yoda. They meet him, and he's acting kind of goofy, but he can do things like the flip he does and the certain acrobatic techniques. Obi-Wan says, in my experience, I don't believe in luck. Excuse me. So when he's blasting the droids with his foot, all of that. You can call it what you will. I'm calling that he's a dumb klutz who just gets lucky. There is such a thing as luck in this universe. Don't kid yourself on this. The Force. Jedi can say all they want, but even the Jedi aren't right all the time. And it was just a colossal mistake to make Jar Jar so irritably annoying. Why the accent? Why basically make half these characters racist overtones? And yeah, it's tit for tat. And they're not necessarily. I don't think Lucas was trying to be racist. To be all honest, he ended up making racist-based characters. The Neimoidians, the Trade Federation guys, they were horrible Chinese racists, or they were Asian stereotype at least. Watto was a kind of like a Jewish Italian stereotype, especially with the nose, and just he was very. I mean, don't get me wrong. Of the three stereotypes we get in that movie, Watto's the one I can tolerate. In fact, Watto's actually kind of funny sometimes. And he shows up again in Attack of the Clones. It's not for very long, but you're like, you know what? He's not a bad character overall. I can tolerate the kind of, I can tolerate that. But, it suffers from, no, don't get me wrong, for the time, the effects were beautiful. And they are still beautiful. The backgrounds hold up amazing. Some of the, like, Jar Jar himself was a good effect back then, but he is a bit dated now. But it was one of the first real heavy CGI films, and it shows. It is very much CGI, and it both benefits from that, from the backgrounds, and suffers from it because there's not always actual characters to. It's like working as Orlando Bloom, or working as a lot of actors say, a tennis ball and a stick. Ewan McGregor had a lot of, actually, from what I understand, had a lot of issues working with the CGI Yoda later in the series. But regardless of that, I mean, the acting for working with a director that does not work well with other actors. Or does not work well with his actors. He does not do the best he can with his actors. It's just a fact with George Lucas. I love George Lucas to death. He's done some amazing work, not just with Star Wars, but with like Indiana Jones, with getting things like Pixar up and running, with just the visual effects industry in general. He's a genius. He's a pioneer. But call a spade a spade. He's got his shortcomings, and one of them is he's not a very solid director. And he's a human being. He got his feelings hurt with the prequels. That's why that's one of the reasons he sold Star Wars to begin with. Apparently, as it turns out, though, he actually went to a bunch of directors for the prequels and said, "No, George, you should do it." I can see where they were coming from with it. I'm not gonna bash on Lucas for that. Like Colin's like, "Are you idiots? No, he shouldn't have done." No, because he actually directed the first Star Wars. He did. I'm pretty certain he did. Anyway. And yeah, he's got some talent in certain fields, and for what it was especially for the low budget it was at the time, $14 million for a movie, that was quite a bit of money back then. 77, yeah. See, my cat's making noise in the other room. He did an amazing job. I loved the original Star Wars to death, but yeah, he shouldn't have directed. And even if he was going to direct, he should learn how to get the best performance out of his actors, because he also wrote at least the screenplay and the script. And we know he wrote the story, but I'm pretty sure he wrote a lot of the script, because some of the dialogue is just terrible. Are you an angel? I'm the only yippee! And how on earth do you make actors like Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor and Samuel L. Jackson seem flat? Don't get me wrong. For what it is, they're giving decent performances, but they come off flat. They do. They just come off flat and uninteresting half the time. Don't get me wrong. For that movie, I like Qui-Gon Jinn. I like young Obi-Wan. I like Yoda. I love Darth Maul. Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious. They're great. Padme, not so much. And here's a fun fact I didn't know. Keira Knightley was actually the stand-in, the body double for Natalie Portman's Padme. She was the one that was actually posing as the Queen. So that's an interesting little fact. Apparently Natalie Portman was terrorizing her on set too. Oh man. But then there's like so many things that make no sense. Like I didn't even realize this until they brought it up on Collider when they were doing their commentary on the movie, and I agree completely. It's just like, what's this droid name? And the guy looks at R2 and says, R2-D2. I'm sorry, where on R2 does it say that he is R2-D2? Because I don't think it's labeled on C-3PO at all. So I mean, I'm certain there probably is a brand name, like a code. But I don't ever recall it being on there. I mean, but let's look about it for a second in terms of some of the good stuff again. I mean, Darth Maul, underused, but great first villain for the first film. Of course, anytime we see Palpatine being Darth Sidious, it's like, my lord, is that legal? And then that's just a great line. I will make it legal. Just that is a great line. The effects in the planet core, that was pretty cool. All the undersea animals. I love seeing the wildlife of Star Wars. Love wildlife of Star Wars. Those are fun alien monsters all of the time. Pod racing's pretty fun, pretty intense. We all know who's going to come out of it alive, though, so were we really that worried? Some of the effects are a little iffy in that scene, though, with some characters, like the two-headed announcer guy. That was kind of stupid. And of course, the fight scene between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon and Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan, that was just great. And that being said, I didn't like the fact it was spliced between a space battle that no one kind of cared about. Because again, oh my god, Anakin's getting locked in the little pod. Oh, it's autopiloting. Why is the autopilot heading to the battle? I have no idea. And then, of course, he saves the day, which I do like the fact that they repeat. He does that in not the Clone Wars TV series that most people know, but the 2D animated Clone Wars TV series that came out, before Revenge of the Sith, it was after Clone Wars, the movie, which came out 2004. I think it came out 2005 or something like that. It was coming out right before the Clone Wars TV. It was done by the same people who did Samurai Jack. They're 3-minute episodes each, with the last one being 7 minutes introducing General Grievous. And I own it on DVD. I like that. That makes a better movie for the Clone Wars than the Clone Wars movie did. So, because they all play back to back. You can watch individual segments, but they all play back to back, and it's all awesome. They're like 3 to 5 minutes each. It's cool. I love it. But yeah, the fight scene and of course also the sound, the music and the sound editing is just beautiful in that film. But yeah, that fight scene at the end, that's the best part of the movie, hands down. Just and the Darth Maul just gets that epic intro, which I think Vader should get in Rogue One when the rebels are trying to escape with the plans. Just boom, 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 boom. Just. Did you just shit yourself? I just shit my pants. So, overall, I'll actually say Phantom Menace is actually the second best of the prequels, believe it or not. And that's strange, because that has the most Jar Jar in it. You take Jar Jar out of that movie, I'd actually say it's probably... No, Revenge is still probably the best movie, but it's... There's also called the prequels anti-cheese edit, where they cut it down to like an hour and a half, and it's a lot better of a movie. I haven't watched that yet myself, but I hear good things about it. Then moving on to Clone Wars. Oh man, Clone Wars. Again, visually, beautiful film. Let's be clear right now. All the prequels are visually beautiful looking films. Why you have a diner in that film, I don't know, but whatever. This is where Ewan McGregor was kind of lost as a character, I suppose, Obi-Wan, because he's trying to be a mentor, and I'm not feeling the young, energetic Obi-Wan anymore, but I'm not feeling the wise master who's supposed to be teaching Anakin right now. He's kind of like caught in the crossroads a little bit. Not being said, he's probably one of the best performances in the film still, but it's just, when you got to deal with all that horrible romantic banter and just the love... This romance, no one gives a crap about. I'm sorry. Okay, that's not true. I'm certain there's people who give a crap about, because I'm certain there's people who actually like the prequels. I am. I like Revenge of the Sith, all right. It's not my favorite Star Wars movie. And I actually kind of like, and I use kind of strongly, Phantom Menace. Clone Wars, I can flat out say I don't like Clone Wars very much. And I own them all, like I said, because it is what it is. There's things I like about the Clone Wars, but it's a very poorly made film, honestly, because it's trying to focus between this army being raised. We get introduced to so many new characters, because we get introduced to the Genosians. We get introduced to Planet Genosha, Planet Kamino, with the clones, Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Christopher Lee's Count Dooku. They were dealing with the plot of the clone troopers, the army, the Trade Federation, Dooku being into Sith, the freaking romance, him losing his mother, him slowly venturing to the dark side because of that. It was just so much stuff to put in there. When I hear people talk about how the prequel trilogy should have started if they were going to do it, I hear them say it should have started as Anakin as a teenager, not as a kid. And I agree with that. That would start with the Clone Wars, deal with a Clone Wars-esque movie, and then Revenge of the Sith. Like, make this better and choose maybe a slightly different actor than Hayden Christensen, because his line delivery is terrible. Just terrible. His line delivery just sucks. It gets a little better in the third one. There are times when he can deliver a line properly. But he's just so wooden and bland. And I don't blame that for Hayden Christensen, because he's a decent actor. I've seen him in other things. He's a decent actor. Not to place blame on Lucas again, but I blame that on Lucas for not bringing the best of his actor out. It's just kind of the way he does not work with actors well. It's just the way Lucas is. Sorry, Bazaar food is on right now, so it's they're eating conchs. So, and they're about to eat a conch penis. That's fascinating. Anywho, I mean, this is when also they switched up. If you look at the new metal cased Blu-rays for the prequels and the Star Wars in general, they've now replaced Yoda with a CGI Yoda in the Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace, he still was a puppet. Which, by the way, I'll admit also that the whole scene where they're interviewing, basically testing Anakin. And that's a pretty decent scene, too. But, just give me 1 second. There we go. This is when they switched up to a CGI Yoda for obvious reasons. You can't have a puppet doing all those lightsaber battles. And thinking back on it, when I said one of the good things about the prequel or Clone Wars was the lightsaber battle in Genosha, I hadn't watched that battle for a little bit when I had done that video. After rewatching the battle, I'm like, this is entertaining, but it's nowhere near as epic as it should be, because there's no way a whole group of Jedi masters, mind you, I mean, this is not the entire Jedi Order, but a lot of these are Jedi Masters, including Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shakti, just all of them. They shouldn't be losing this hard to droids, even in that mass amount. Hell, we see that Mace Windu is capable of just blowing half of them away with the Force alone, so why the hell... Lucas writing, I suppose. Jango Fett was alright to see. The fight on Kamino with him and Obi-Wan's actually not bad. The fight, the arena scene with the three beasts they have, that was pretty cool. Christopher Lee is awesome in anything he is in. Doesn't mean the movie's awesome, but he's awesome. He's one of the only actors to come up with some class in there. Just like, I love the way he just taunts everyone's like, Master Kenobi, you disappoint me. Yoda held you in such high regard that surely you can do better. Just, nicks him. And Anakin's just an impetuous douche. Just, yeah, anyway. Now, back down. First time we see a lightsaber absorb lightning, that was pretty cool. Which makes you wonder, like, Luke, why did you throw your lightsaber away against the Emperor again? Did you? Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't see that coming necessarily. Which, by the way, I have to comment real quick. How is it that the Force lightning in how is it that I find in the original Return of the Jedi the Force lightning for Emperor Palpatine more believable than the Force lightning I'm seeing in the prequels? And it's not just the fact that Return of the Jedi is just better than any of the prequels. In my opinion. I'm certain there's people who even like the prequels better than the original trilogy. It's fine. I'm not going to judge you. I just am in the majority who thinks that the original trilogy is better. So, that being said, how is it that their lightning effects, which look like they're from an electric ball from Spencer's in 1990... What year did that come out again? Or was it 89? I think it was 89. 1 second, I'm actually going to just check the answer on that real quick. Return of the Jedi. But anyway, how is it that the lightning effects from the Emperor look better, in my opinion, than the lightning effects in the prequels with all that updated CGI? So that came out in 1983. Okay, because that's right. Yeah, that's right. Because Return of the Jedi... Empire Strikes Back came out, I think, 81? I think it was 81. 1 second. I'm actually now I want to check Empire. I know the original Star Wars was 79. Empire Strikes Back 81. 1980. I was off by a year. Oh well. Woe is me. I am such a loser. But yeah, Christopher Lee is one of the only actors who comes off with any real saving dignity at all. Yeah, but even then, watching some of the scenes again, I'm like, some of the lines you've been given, I know you're trying your damnedest, Christopher, but it's just so hard to watch you give such bad lines. It is. Oh, no, it's been a terrible mistake, my friend. And that fight between him, Anakin, and Obi-Wan is really bad. It's actually one of the worst of the prequels. Because half the time you just see them, obviously because it's a stunt double for Christopher Lee, but also half the time you don't see them really doing anything in terms of sword fighting. You just see them waving their lightsabers in their faces. It just doesn't look good. It looks very bad. It looks very terrible. Now, that being said, the fight with Obi-Wan and Dooku in the beginning is not bad. And then, of course, we get Yoda coming in, and that's probably the best part of the movie. Just Yoda it seems our knowledge cannot, or this battle cannot be or it seems this battle cannot be won with our knowledge of the Force, but our skill with a lightsaber. And then Yoda just, yeah. I can hear people who get the complain about that. I'm sorry, I dig that scene anytime I watch it. Just and just bring it, you will. Fall, you are. Bitch and bite, you will be. I dig that anytime. And of course, but then we end the movie with that damn romance again, them getting married. And then we get into episode 3, which I contest is the best of the prequels. I mean, I think a lot of people do as well. I've talked a lot about the good parts of the prequels. I dug General Grievous as a bad guy. Granted, he died pretty quickly, and though he wasn't on screen very long, he left a pretty good impression, I thought. That being said, his fight really didn't last very long. For some guy who was wielding 4 lightsabers at once, that was a very short fight with 4 lightsabers. And frankly, it was a little disappointing how he goes out. I would have preferred him to go the Darth Maul route and thought to be dead but still survived. Oh well, though. And then, like I said, Anakin's line delivery is a little better, but he's still so wooden, especially when he's screaming. That's actually when you can tell he's the most wooden, because he can't inflect properly at all. Or maybe he can, it's just he didn't inflect properly at all. It's like, I brought peace to my new empire! Just, what? Emote, please! Raise the octave of your voice! And again, I gave more crap about the romance in this, because you see the pain of the situation coming through in the relationship. And Padme asks if she's pregnant. That scene where he's sitting in the Jedi Council room, just sensing her. And of course, let's be clear, the best part of this movie, hands down, is Ian McDermott as the Emperor. Oh my god, the guy was having so much fun chewing the scenery. It's like, only through me can you achieve a power greater than any Jedi. He says, you want to kill me, don't you? I can sense I would very much like to. I know you would. I can sense your anger. It makes you focused. It's just, yes. The whole Darth Plagueis intro, dealing with, have you ever heard the legend of Darth Plagueis the Wise? He can influence the midichlorians to create life. That was an awesome scene, so intimate, so almost gothic feeling. Just beautifully done. The fight scenes were at their best in this movie as well, too. The lightsaber choreography was beautiful in this movie. Between him, Dooku, and Anakin, between Anakin, Dooku, and Obi-Wan, between Windu and Sidious, between Yoda and Sidious, between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Oh god, the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight is amazing to watch. And I counter any argument where it looks too choreographed. Yeah, but these were Jedi in their prime. They were fluid. They had motions. They actually fought with specific styles. That is they do actually hint and show in the movies that they actually fight with specific styles. That it takes practice to learn those. If you've ever looked at martial arts can be looked at not only as a fighting style, but as a fluid dance, almost. If you've actually ever seen a true martial artist do their thing, it is like watching them dance and beat the shit out of you, but dancing beating the shit out of you. So I liken that the same way to the Star Wars prequel fights. It's a form that these characters have learned over so many years, that it's fluid, it's motion, it's like a dance. It's like, it is these motions that they have learned for combat. So I have never had any problem with those. And of course, but again, going back to Ian McDermott, just when he goes over the top and he goes the full fucking 9 years, like, no, yeah, we'll die. Please don't kill me, Power! Unlimited power! Oh man, and then, I love, and the fight between him and Yoda is glorious. I waited for this a long time, my little green friend. Alas, the Jedi are no more. Not have anything to say about it. I have. Just, whoa, just great. And then that line is like, it's so powerful you are. Why leave? No. And then it just gets into badassness. And I contend, by the way, that if Yoda had actually decided to stick with that fight instead of, running off, he could have beaten Sidious, I think. I think if he wanted to just try to retrieve his lightsaber, do a force jump while he was just hanging there, he could have just sliced him in half. Now, granted, I don't know if Sidious could have had the ability to transfer his essence at that point, but Who knows? But just throwing the Senate chairs and stuff like that. It was awesome. It was great. And then, of course, the final fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's heartbreaking on Obi-Wan's part. It's not as heartbreaking when dealing with Anakin because we don't care about Anakin as much. We know what's going to happen anyway. The emotional impact is coming from Obi-Wan, just especially you really do feel bad for Obi-Wan more than Anakin because he just feels like he lost someone, he lost family to him. He just felt, you are my brother, I loved you. You just felt your heart break for Obi-Wan there, just like, ugh. And then that goes to, Ewan McGregor. This is when we saw Ben Kenobi. Obi-Wan / Ben Kenobi. This is when we saw him. And it showed. He really was able to come out with a decent... I mean, he was never bad in any of the prequels, surprisingly, but he really came out with a decent performance in this one. But then we get into everything that's wrong with the movie. It's still... Hayden Christensen still wasn't the best fit for this character, at least in George Lucas's hands. The pacing isn't bad, but it does feel rushed at points, especially his spontaneous jump to the dark side. When he just cuts off Mace with his hands, like, no, you mustn't. He must stand trial. He owns the Senate and the court. He's too dangerous to be alive. And by the way, he's a Sith. He's ordering the execution of the Jedi. He wants the Jedi dead, Anakin. No! And it's, I need him! No! And then, what have I done? You'll fulfill your destiny. I can help you. I'll do anything you want. It's sudden. And then he's killing younglings. What the F? Seriously? Impulse control problems much? And then, of course, I don't feel any sympathy for Anakin at all during the final scene of the movie. And I get he's become so delusional and stuff like that, but I don't feel any sympathy for Anakin at that point. I don't. I feel General Grievous was used ineffectively. He was fine to see on the thing, but I think he was used ineffectively. He should have been on screen more, and he should have even had a Darth Maul-esque exit where he could have come back if they so chose. I think it would have been cool to see, like, Asajj Ventress or something in there. That would have been cool to see. And then, of course, I'm glad we didn't see any Jar Jar at that point, because Jar Jar, I think, had one line. One line like, excuse me, as he was walking away. That was it. We see him at the end, too. Although I cared a bit more about the romance in this, the romance still is not believable very much at all. And, of course, Darth Vader. And, oh, by the way, a lot of the dialogue's better, but some of the dialogue's still terrible to listen to. It's like, you're so beautiful. It's because I'm so in love. So, no, because I'm so in love with you. So love has blinded you. Oh, God. But, of course, the end where they pussified Vader. Lord Vader, can you hear me? And at first, it looks really cool. You're like, yes, yes. And you don't get that line from Lord Vader. Yes, my master. Oh, yes, my master. Rise. You don't get that in the trailer. From the trailer, you don't. And then, of course, in the words, pardon me, I believe, sigh, in your rage, you killed her. No, that's not... I knew she was alive. And then... Whoa! How could you do that to Vader? I get it. No, I get it. And expand the lore in the comics and all that. He is actually a more sympathetic character than we are led to believe originally. And even by Return of the Jedi, we realize that he's actually a very sympathetic character. But he's still Darth Vader. You don't pussify him that much. You don't. You don't make him whine like a little bitch. Which, by the way, throughout the entire latter half of the series, basically Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith prequel series, Anakin just comes off as whiny, angsty little bitch half the time. He really does. And it's just irritating to deal with. That's another reason why he just doesn't work with Lucas, and it doesn't work with Hayden Christensen working with Lucas. But then the end of the movie is actually pretty good. We see, Death Star being built. We see Luke being dropped off on Tatooine. We see Leia with the Organas on Alderaan. And then Joel Edgerton as Uncle Owen. And you see Ben Kenobi just doing that whole, yes, yes. And then just kind of rides off in the sunset. So, on the whole, the prequel trilogy I don't think is as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. It's still not good. It's still not good. I'll defend the third one as being at least semi-decent film, but it's still nowhere near on par with the original trilogy, which we'll get to and a little later in the week. But yeah, if I were to rate any of these movies, I'm not even really going to rate these movies because they've been out for so long. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you'd like us to review something, put it in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. So I'll be back in a little bit for one more video, and then I'll be calling it a night. Well, actually, I'll be back. I take that back. One more Star Wars video I'll have set up for today. Yeah, I'll set it up for tomorrow. I'll do the video, but I'll set it up for tomorrow. And I gotta wait for Supergirl to be on demand. So after Supergirll will be my last video of the night. So thanks for watching. See you next time.